just a little bit of an update. And while I'm out here catching rays, I thought I'd let you know what's in today's news stories. So, a lot is happening out here. We're going to cover the severe weather, we're going to cover Trump trial, we're going to cover Sean P. Diddy Combs, and we're also going to cover an update on the explosion that took place on yesterday in Youngstown, Ohio. So let's get to it. If you think that there have been a lot of tornadoes this year, you would be absolutely right. With at least 850 confirmed tornadoes so far and several major tornado outbreaks, it ranks among the busiest year in recorded history. It's at least the sixth busiest in the past 30 years it has ever been. That number is likely to rise as the National Weather Service continues surveying and confirming damages from April and May tornado reports, which were up significantly over the previous years. Sounds like cloud seeding to me, but I could be wrong. If you don't know what cloud seeding is, please look that up because they're playing around with the weather. In other news, so I told you guys about the explosion that happened in Youngstown, Ohio yesterday. Here is an update as to what is going on. A man's body was found at the major explosion. Remember, I told you they were still looking for two people. Well, they have found the man, and here's the update to the rest of the story. The body of a person has been recovered after a major explosion in Youngstown, Ohio. As News Center 7 previously reported Tuesday around 3:30 p.m., Youngstown Fire Department posted on social media, "Please avoid downtown Youngstown area. Major explosion from possible natural gas leak." The front of the Realty building on East Federal Street is damaged. The coroner's office was at the scene just before midnight on Tuesday. They recovered the body of the missing man. Youngstown police have confirmed that a 27-year-old man was recovered from the scene. He was a bank employee, and that bank was Chase Bank, which had their location at the bottom of that building. And then there were at least 12 floors of apartments above that. As for the woman, they're saying that the woman is still unaccounted for. He added that her car is not anywhere near the scene and she is not at any hospital. Fighters are no longer sure if she was even in that explosion. Here's what's happening in the news. Trump trial live updates. The jury is to receive instructions at 10 a.m. after end of closing arguments. Attorneys for the prosecution and defense presented closing arguments on Tuesday. Closing arguments wrapped up around 8 p.m. on Tuesday after a marathon 10-hour session where both the defense and prosecution laid out their arguments in the former President Donald Trump's historic hush money trial. Breaking news about the Sean P. Diddy Combs case. I told you guys that I would not do another video unless something major happened, and something major just happened. I wanted to bring it to you. I was just gonna roll this in with my other news stories that I have, but I'm gonna end up having to do two stories today with that. So let's get into what's going on with Sean P. Diddy Combs and what is changing progressively. Latest breaking news concerning Diddy, Sean Diddy Combs accusers. A federal grand jury may soon hear from Sean Diddy Combs' accusers. Now, I understand this story might not be for everybody, but I did say I would come back if they were about to charge him or he has been charged. So this is what's happening. The latest on Sean Diddy Combs. Federal investigators are preparing to bring accusers of music mogul Sean Diddy Combs before a federal grand jury. Two sources familiar with the probe say that the U.S. Justice Department is moving toward potentially seeking an indictment of Combs. Possible witnesses have been notified by investigators that they could be brought in to testify in front of a federal grand jury in New York City, according to one of the sources. Bringing individuals who have filed civil lawsuits against Combs before a grand jury would mark a significant escalation in the government's ongoing investigation involving the producer and Bad Boy record founder. If you recall, they did do a raid on multiple homes owned by Sean Diddy Combs. Combs has been named in 8 civil lawsuits since November, 7 directly accusing him of sexual assault. One of the 8 lawsuits filed by former girlfriend Cassie Ventura has been settled 1 day after she filed. Another lawsuit accused his son, Christian Combs, of sexual assault, and Sean Combs is accused of aiding and abetting that. A spokesperson for the Homeland Security Investigation Agency declined to comment on the existence of a grand jury, but noted the investigation remains ongoing. These potential witnesses have not yet been prepped for testimony. Both sources told CNN, cautioning that HSI investigators are still in the process of gathering evidence and questioning potential sources of information in their federal probe into Combs. One source said investigators are being thorough and taking their time to ensure that an indictment, should there be one, is bulletproof. Grand juries comprised of ordinary citizens are critical tools used by prosecutors, providing both an investigative function in approving the subpoenaing of documents and witnesses, and a vote on whether to criminally charge suspects. The use of a grand jury signals a particular case has moved beyond the preliminary stage, where investigators generally assess whether possible violations of the law are believed to have been committed. Sean Diddy Combs' homes in Los Angeles and Miami were searched back in March. At that time, CNN reported that the rapper and entrepreneur was the target of a federal investigation carried out by the Department of Homeland Security team that handles human trafficking crimes, and the ongoing investigation included a focus on ex-trafficking, according to law enforcement sources. Somebody's leaking, or are they just cooperating? Anyway, now additional sources told CNN that the majority of the plaintiffs who have filed civil lawsuits against Combs have been interviewed by federal investigators. So get that. Everyone who has filed a civil lawsuit against him has already been interviewed by federal investigators. Now, Combs has vehemently denied claims from any of those civil lawsuits, but has not responded to all of the allegations. In December 2023, after 4 lawsuits had been filed against him, Combs posted a fierce denial of his social media, writing, "Sickening allegations had been made by accusers looking for a quick payday. Let me be absolutely clear. I did not do anything or any of those awful things being alleged." But previously in March, per a law enforcement source, that the investigation stems from many sexual assault allegations put forth in several of the civil lawsuits against Combs. CNN has learned that the scope of the investigation is much, much larger, focusing on ex-trafficking, money laundering, and illegal drugs. And in addition to the human trafficking, HSI also investigates narcotics smuggling and other organized criminal activity. It's much bigger than these lawsuits that are out here right now, says a source familiar with the scope of the investigation. Federal investigators are now digging deeper, and some of the accusers have been questioned numerous times, a source has said. A second source corroborates this current state of investigation. CNN did release that video of Mr. Combs, and I'm going to say Mr. Combs, so I'm going to give him some respect, even though he seems to have not given anyone theirs. Mr. Combs was, not allegedly, in this video, he was actually beating his then girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, who he later settled a lawsuit with 24 hours after she filed it. So remember, before that video came out, he said that he was innocent. So while it seems like nothing new is coming out, you guys, a lot is happening in the background. Accusers who have spoken to federal agents during the investigation have been actively cooperating with investigators, with some handing over evidence they believe may be helpful in the probe. One source said investigators are also bringing in new individuals for questioning including corroborating witnesses of accusers. So, like when they said Gene Deal and a few other people, those people are actively being interviewed by investigators and cooperating with evidence, allegedly. Federal agents are in possession of videos that have been taken inside of Combs' recently searched residences. This is according to a source. It's unclear whether the video was seized during the raids or whether investigators obtained video from individuals they have been questioning. They are contacting people that they found on the tapes. And y'all, it's alleged that he has tapes on so many people, high profile and not. And I'm sure that means ex-girlfriend Jennifer Lopez. Okay, and he was using it as leverage, allegedly. So at least one male ex-worker who claims he has been victimized by Combs has been questioned during the investigation, one source said, adding that this individual was seen in footage that is in possession of federal investigators. In some of the lawsuits against Combs, accusers have alleged that they were informed after the fact that they were recorded having sex without giving their consent to be filmed. So many of the people in there, they're saying they didn't know they were being recorded. And they were contacted by investigators saying, hey, we got this tape on you. In some of the lawsuits against Combs, accusers have alleged that they were informed after the fact that they were recorded having without giving their consent to be filmed. Combs has not responded to this specific accusations, but he dismissed all alleged wrongdoing in a blanket denial he posted on December 2023. All this report is detailed. I'm gonna have to do this video by itself. Okay, go back to interview voice. In some of the civil suits, Combs is alleged of drugging multiple accusers. In the two most recent lawsuits filed against Combs within the past week, former fashion student April Lampros and former model Krista McKinney both accused Combs of rugging them. In Lampros' suit, she claims that Combs forced her to take ecstasy and then demanded she have actual intercourse with one of his former girlfriends before R-ing her. You know what I mean? Combs has not responded to CNN's request for comment since these two lawsuits were filed. Combs was also accused in a civil suit filed last November of intentionally rugging and actually assaulting Joy Dickerson Neal back in 1991 when she was a college student. Though his legal team has filed a motion to dismiss portions of this suit, Dickerson Neal also accused Combs of revenge porn. I'm going to say revenge porn, claiming that Combs secretly recorded the actual assault. Days later, a male friend revealed to Dickerson Neal that he had viewed it, according to her claim, and she knew nothing about it because she was allegedly rugged. Combs' team did not respond to specific allegations of rugging or secret recordings, but a spokesperson at the time said the complaint was made up and not credible, discrediting the accusations as purely a money grab. In their motion to dismiss, which is still pending, attorneys for Combs called Dickerson Neal's allegations false, offensive, and salacious. Now, mind you, even though he put out the apology video just a few weeks ago, he reneged on it because he's a renegger. And he reneged on the fact that he said, well, first, he did not say that he didn't ask for forgiveness. He said, I'm not asking for forgiveness, so y'all stop forgiving him, okay? He just said he was in a dark place. He never mentioned Cassie Ventura's name. That's who the apology was, I guess, supposed to be to. And he didn't mention her name. And then when he did not get the results of the pity party, and people coming to save him as they always do, he decided a few days later, bump it. I don't mean none of this. I didn't do any of this. So he's a renegger on apologies. So don't believe nothing that he say. And although he is innocent until proven guilty in the court of law, a lot of people in the court of social media have proved him guilty, unfortunately. So we're going to see where this go, and I will definitely be bringing y'all updates on it as it progresses. That's it for today's video. I will see you guys in the next video. Remember to turn on your notifications. Well, subscribe to the channel first of all if you have not. Then turn on your notifications so your bell will shimmy shake, because if it ain't shimmy shaking, then you're not being notified when I call you. And if I call you and you don't know, then you just don't know. So I'll talk to you later in another video. I'll call you.
I've been giving you the worst.